And move your cursor.
He's got a big cursor.
I learned that from Mark. Okay, let's see now. Okay, I believe this is it. Okay, I don't have the list of the judges, so
It's all right. We'll figure it out.
Yeah.
Do you want to go through them or should we just talk?
yeah, we've already gone through them. So
Okay.
If does anyone have this picture? Or?
In this class, they all get talked about because there's only 8 of them.
Yeah.
Okay,
Yeah.
So whoever's got this picture can talk about it.
I think I have this one. So clearly a film scan, you can see all the dust and stuff, but I don't know, I kind of like that. I love the telephoto compression, just isolating on an image on one feature, right? We have this dark blue stormy sky, yellow turret, bright white of the architecture, and then just kind of out of focus in the foreground, the like brown wavy stripe thing. So I think it adds like a nice 3-dimensional characteristic, right? We have a foreground, middle ground, background. We have good color contrast, yellow and blue. And then we have this nice kind of like white and black contrast with the white stucco with the black windows. My only real like critique, I think this might work better as an 8x10 crop to just above that spire. And then also there's an arch at the very bottom right that's coming up. That one to me just kind of needs if you crop up just a little, doesn't really add anything to it. And so I think it draws the eye away just a little much. So I think it'd make it a little bit stronger, just that one little tweak. But it's I like that you didn't use a wide angle. I think the telephoto is the right choice to really focus on exactly what the viewer should be looking at. So, good.
Okay. Let me see here. Next photo.
There we go. Okay, Witcher's Touch. I found that color was the really outstanding visual element for this image. It's a tree set in winter. The beautiful purple and mauve to peach transition sets a peaceful and contemplative mood. The tree is almost graphic with some trunk detail and remaining fall leaves and maybe some, I was going to say maybe some nutcases, but I don't think so. They're silhouetted against the sky. However, I think with this image that it could have been improved with a different perspective, that if the photographer had been able to take several steps back and to the right, I know that's not always possible. So that's why I said, but a different perspective, you would have evened out the branches on each side, and technically the right side branches are a little more out of focus. And so with the f-stop that apparently was chosen for this, that would have a more equilateral view on that would have brought that into better focus. I would recommend, this is a basic category, so I would recommend, if you're shooting in low light, if you have the possibility to use a tripod, carry one around with you. I'm really, really bad at that. So anyway, changing the position of the shot could also have served to maybe straighten the horizon, which the way it's tilted, I feel like it significantly detracts from the composition. And of course, this is oldies, which means that it's not like you can go back and fix it, or even that the light's going to look the same from one day to the next. So as it is, you could maybe even crop it up some from the bottom and still preserve that color change. That might strengthen the image as it is. But Love the color. It's outstanding.
All right, this is me. Y'all hear me?
Yep.
All right. Perspective. Really like this photo. Kind of got down low, added a human element to it, kind of get the grand scheme of how tall these trees are. I'm assuming these are redwoods or something. So kind of like that part. Got down low, kind of a wide angle too. The only thing I would say, maybe try to bracket because the sky is kind of blown out. And if you look at one of the trees on the right side, it's so blown out that looks like kind of the branch there is blown out with the rest of the sky. But yeah, that's really all I would do with this photo.
Yeah, this one's mine. I love this photo. It has such a mood to it. When you look at it, I don't even know if you see the whale tail first. My eye goes to the brighter thing, which is the peak to the left and kind of where the sun is going. You're like, oh, that's really nice, kind of, clouds and mountain. Oh, there's a whale tail. And it's like so unexpected almost. The other thing that I thought was really surprising, I was looking at the camera metadata, which please include your metadata when you're submitting. It really helps judges kind of give more feedback. Anyway, this was shot at 55 millimeters. So I'm curious how close this whale was to the boat or whatever you were watching it on, that you were 55 millimeters away. Like that's not even portrait length. So I was really kind of surprised by that. But I love the tone, right? The kind of blue to gold in the clouds. My big critique, I guess, you never know exactly where the whales are going to come from. It's going to be a surprise, much like the viewing this photo. But if you could maybe get the camera down near the water line over the railing, I don't know, maybe you don't want to lose your camera. I get that. But I think it would bring that whale tail up into the more into the horizon, whereas now it kind of muddies with that horizon line. And so either going down, either coming up higher and shooting down, or getting lower and shooting up, just where that tail isn't running right through that water line would be my one critique. But I love the mood. I love the vibe. I bet this was a fun story and trip. So yeah, really cool.
Okay, this one is mine. It is titled Blowing in the Wind, Nature's Plan for Seeds. I'm going to jump on my favorite hobby horse and warn people about having overly long titles. Sometimes they can be really effective and add to the image, but sometimes they can also inadvertently lead the viewer to feeling like they're sort of being talked down to, or that, it just is too much information. Anyway, overall, this is a nicely done close-up picture of milkweed pod seeds. They're a personal favorite of mine. I've got them tattooed on my chest. But I mean, overall, who doesn't smile and feel really enchanted by pictures of these? Their selection as a subject sets a really light, playful mood. Form-wise, the texture is really outstanding. You have good focus on the central seed head, but not exact, which I think kind of adds to the sense of the wind blowing them. I think a really strong technical element here is the exposure, because even though you have small specular highlights kind of throughout, which you're going to get with this subject, but you don't have a lot of really large blown out areas, which is also really easy to do with this subject. So another good technical choice here was depth of field. Focus was well done. You got a really nicely out of focus background with, really warm colors. You got a good sort of triangular composition going there with the three seed heads. However, one of the things I felt was problematic with this photo was the rising twig over in left center, especially because it has that brighter tip on the end. If you had the skill, you could try maybe cloning it out entirely, or even just taking that brighter tip off, I think would help a lot with this photo. Or you could even, you know, depending on how, whether or not you've already cropped this image some, it would be strengthened, I think, even by cropping out a lot of that left side, and you would still have a good triangular composition with the two seed heads and kind of the puff there in center middle. Yeah, that's, I like this photo, but a lot of it has to do with my personal love of the subject. But I think that technically there are a lot of really strong elements to this. Just composition needed kind of a look at. That's it for that one.
Yeah, it's me, San Diego Sunset 2011. So I'm assuming this is San Diego sunset and taken in 2011. Pretty good, nice environmental shot. The horizon is almost level. Kind of looks like it's just slightly down to the right. Kind of like the silhouette of the lone bird. You got his reflection in there, like the warm glow of the sun. Kind of be nice to be there now with as cool it is outside. So my critique on this would be, one, maybe, you know, use a tripod, slow down your shutter speed a little bit, get a little motion in the water, get some of that blur on that, and maybe even crank up, go to like F18 or something, and kind of get that starburst effect of that sun there. And yeah, so that's my critique on this one.
This would be me. I think every photographer in this group should have at least one good bluebonnet photo. So I think this is a good solo. I liked the blue and the green. There's nothing in the background that really distracts from the blue, which is nice. A lot of times when you have a nice flower close up, the background is the part that really has the issue, right? It's usually not the flower, but a lot of times the issue is what's in the background. In this case, very nice soft greens. I would say the settings on this one, again, looking at the metadata, kind of surprising. ISO 3200, pretty high. And we see that a little bit kind of in some loss of detail, but then the shutter speed was like 1/2000th. So you probably could have easily come down to ISO 800, been at 1/500th. Photo probably wouldn't have changed very much, but you'd give yourself a little bit more image fidelity to work with. For high ISO, go there if you need it. But if you don't need it, don't let your camera go there. You can fix noise, obviously, but you can't really fix blur. So, the focal length here wasn't that long that you needed 2000th. I think it's kind of late in the day, nice and soft colors. It's, that we don't have that super harsh light coming across either the subject or the background. So, it kind of is what it is, right? A nice, good close up of a bluebonnet, kind of makes everybody happy. Just as Carol has an affinity for the last flower, I have an affinity for the bluebonnet. It was my grandmother's favorite flower, and one of my most treasured possessions. She hand painted Christmas ornaments with bluebonnets on them. And so, yeah, so this is kind of something that she would appreciate. So you hit me in the feels a little bit there. So, but good, it's good. There's nothing like crazy over the top about it, but good, solid effort.
Okay, church in Yosemite. There's a really nice kind of old timey feel to this image of the Yosemite Valley Chapel. It has really nice soft autumn colors and the light. I'll address the overall, what I'm seeing as a very kind of soft focus problem with this, but I'll address that a little later. I think overall, the center of the composition works well. You've got the chapel spire silhouetted against the cliff face. In the background, you've got the pine tree on the right, is breaking up that like a really overblown out sky. It's breaking that up nicely. That being said, there are definitely some kind of border edge issues that impact the overall image. You've got your kind of the bordering rocks along the bottom, which are blown out, but also they're bisected, some of them. So I don't know if they're, if you have a negative of this and you have any real estate to back off on it or something, you might revisit that, but then also, just kind of look at composition. This is like a 13-plus-year-old photo, maybe more. So it's interesting with the oldies, you kind of look at them and you wonder, it's like how much further maybe has the photographer come in those intervening years. I look back at what I thought was like really good in 2000 and go, yeah, the top also, you've got that, what is maybe Sentinel dome. I looked on this on the map to try to sort of figure out which that was. But anyway, it's also cut off at the top. And I think that's kind of problematic because it sets a lot of the context of the photo. Depth of field is really fine for the chapel, the subject. You still get some nice detail in the background. But then, like I said, overall, it's really soft. I think if you presented this as the presentation of it were done in kind of an antique-y, old-timey kind of way, that would still be effective. That it wouldn't be all that problematic. And I'm wondering if this is old enough that possibly it was film, that maybe this is done on film, and if you revisited the negative, you might actually find some detail in the sky. I mean, it's possible. And if this is like personally a really memorable photo, I would revisit it if it were mine and it was really meaningful in some way. I would look back at the negative and maybe see if there were some improvements that could be made that way. But otherwise, it's nice and it's very nostalgic.
Mark,
So
you
we
want to
want-
try it again, or do you want me to go?
No, go ahead. Just go to judge's choice. There you go.
Okay, I'll let you narrate.
Okay. So we only have two places in this because we can only make awards to 25% of the entries. So second place, hit your left arrow and then right arrow again, so I can see that again. Maybe it'll show perspective. Oh, it's not showing the author. Great.
Yeah, Delaney Van.
It
Okay.
did to us, it's Delaney Van.
Okay, good. Look, it's cut off on my screen. I'm really having issues. Well, congratulations for Delaney. I really like this one. Next, and first place goes Whale Watching to
Delaney Van.
wow, Delaney, you're hot. So we're going to move her up to the advanced division. There won't be anybody left down there. Yeah, is Delaney here tonight?
I didn't see her.
Okay, I was going to ask her how close she was to that thing. And then we can go back to basic and do the people's choice.
Oh, sorry. Yeah, forgot about that.
And so we have gold, silver, and bronze. And the bronze is the architectural detail in Bahamas. And the winner is
Susan Park.
Susan Park. Very nice. Next, second place is Blowing in the Wind. People's
That's
Choice
Clay.
Silver. Clay Laban. And First but not least is whale watching Delaney Van again. So this image was very popular with everybody.
Yeah, no, that's great.
All right.
Looks like an image Carnival would use.
Yeah. Okay, so 22 images, and we'll go through them.
All right. Does anyone have this one or?
No takers.
Doorway to Another Land? Impalas on High Alert? Time Travelers? White Sands at Blue Hour?
None of the judges have been assigned to any of those images?
No, there's 22. We only get to pick 3, so
All right, I guess they're just, it's kind of an odd distribution.
yeah,
I
See
think
Home
mine are all,
PowerPoint?
mine are all towards the end, I think.
yeah, mine are too.
All right.
Fall Reflections?
All right, that's mine. See, they're coming. I really like the monochromatic nature of this. Just this photo, just dominated by like reds, kind of some blues in the shadows. So just this overall, just really cool monochromatic reds, blacks, darks, with just hints of little bits of greens and blues. Texture really good, right? All this fabric, all of this background to kind of create, right, working hands. Good texture all around. Really one central figure. There's a person in the background, but that's fine. I think the 3 photos I'm going to talk about in this class all have something in common, that they all felt very close to kind of going up a level, but just one thing kind of knocked them down, right? Just didn't keep them from going up. In this case, if she had moved forward like another 6 inches, so like having just that little bit of patience, where that light that's on her shoulders would come across and hit or illuminate just either some or all of her face, maybe some, right? Just a little sliver. I think this photo goes to another level. As it is, her hand has to compete with the hand in the background. Whereas if her face was illuminated, our central figure no longer has to compete with our background figure. And so I would just love to see just that little bit forward tilt, or wait for that moment when the seamstress here comes forward just a touch, to get a little bit of light illuminated. And I think that would take it to another level, especially considering we have this cool like diagonal light coming across in the background, right? We kind of have that, upper light coming across in a diagonal. So just waiting and having that patience for that one little movement. And I think that really takes it to a next level. But I love the color and texture that this photo kind of shows off. Just that one little thing. Yeah.
Hi, honey, I'm home. Berlin Olympic Stadium.
Yep, this is me. Okay, I like the way it's kind of monochromatic, kind of like a black and white, but then the field and the track are color. You got the green and the blue. The like that it's you pretty much got the whole stadium there. The gray kind of goes with if anybody's ever been to Europe or lived in Europe like I did for 5 years. Seems to be always overcast and gray. I think there was one year I was there, we had 20 days of sunlight the whole time. So it kind of goes with it. I can't see it, but the only thing I would critique on the lower left side, I can't see it on my screen now, but there was a half a person's head there. Maybe crop up a little bit on that. Maybe kind of brighten up a little bit the stairway going down. I like that you got the person in there too. Kind of gives you scale of how big this place is. So yeah, that's my critique on this one.
Live music on River Thames. Meek Rat.
Yep, this one's me. Uluru Rebirth. All right. It was kind of funny because the day before I got this photo, I was talking to my wife about going to Australia and maybe going here. So yeah, this is kind of in central Australia. It's just a big rock in the middle of nowhere, this big red rock. Again, I like this photo. I think it might have been a film scan from the metadata. But anyway, you got this tree, you got this nice green buds. Looks like maybe there was a fire or maybe it's springtime there. I don't know. I kind of like the light, how the light and the shadows are in this photo. I would probably maybe do a little dodging and burning to accentuate them just a little bit more on it. And I don't know. I mean, this is kind of close up. If you've ever seen other pictures of it, maybe it might have been better more as a wide to actually get. I mean, unless, without the title, you wouldn't probably even know that it's the Uluru. So, but yeah.
And some friends.
I think this is one of mine. Yeah, we'll come back. Maybe come back to that one. I don't think it is. I don't remember. I didn't write stuff down.
Okay. Sunrise on the beach.
Okay, this is one of the ones I'm talking about. I think that the sunrise colors and the overall composition are really nice in this beach shot. The waves and the shoreline make really strong diagonal lines. And then you have the sort of the staccato interruption of the shorebirds, which really strengthens the impact. The eye is drawn really nicely along the birds there. I was really glad to have the the technical choices to have the data available. That being said, that's not visible like now. So, and I didn't write down what all of those were. However, the photographer shot this with a 1/20th shutter speed, which, I think was just way too low to be able to get the birds in focus, any birds, practically, even if they're sitting really still. 1/20th is going to be really hard to get them in focus. And I think, and I'm not really good at looking at images and picking out exactly what the issues are, but I think that the photographer may have over sharpened then the image in trying to bring the birds in better. And if I'm correct, that is what is leading to are some really real problematic issues with the waves. I mean, the shutter speed as well, but there's also a lot of jaggedy looking stuff in there. I thought, then I thought, okay, well, maybe it's noise. But then when you look into the lower left of the image at the sand, it doesn't look particularly noisy. And they had a really high ISO. I mean, not like super high. I think maybe it was like ISO 2000, but they chose the ISO over shutter speed as far as priority for the image. And I think when you're doing birds and you really need to have them in focus, I think that was like not a good trade-off. Not a good trade-off for them. When you have an animal or a person in an image, that tends to be the subject. That's not always the case, but it tends to be the subject. And so a sharper focus would have made for a stronger image. Compositionally, it was well done. And I don't remember what year this was, but most likely the person has learned a lot in that time as far as birds and getting them in focus. It's tricky. You need to either get them in focus or have them way out of focus in my experience. So it's a pretty image though. Color is really nice.
Leverage.
This is mine. I think it is. Yeah, it is. I think this is an example of a photo where the meat of the photo is in there, but the rest of the fixins don't really support it. So one of the great stylistic or kind of cool things to do, right? A pattern interrupted, right? We have all these. I don't know what these things are. Levers. I still have no idea what this is. Some type of lever. I don't know. They're skis is what my first thought, but I realized that's not what they are. Right. So we have all these patterns, right? And then at some point they get interrupted. And so imagine instead of all of this photo across to go into like the middle 20% and just have almost those abstract black ovals and then colors, red, white, right? All those different ones. Maybe to the first blue, right? Because we go red, white, red, and that first blue is the pattern interrupted and then end right on that red. And so then we have that one anomaly, right? That glitch in the matrix. And that's kind of what we're after. And so I think that's really, a lot of times we take a photo and we see something in it that we focus on, but the viewer doesn't see that. What the viewer sees is everything you took instead of that thing you're focused on. And so it's up to us as the both photographer and the editor is to take the picture and then do something with it to edit it to show only exactly that thing you focused on when you were taking the picture. Right. So in this one, the blue lever off to one side doesn't help, right? The reflections, they don't add. The thing that's the strongest is right there in the middle, kind of the middle third. And that is the thing that really should kind of overwhelm the viewer with just that and don't leave anything else to chance. So this is, again, that kind of example of like a really good photo was inside of this photo that kind of gets cluttered around the edges.
Sunrise over Sprague Lake.
Yeah, this is my third one. Good. I was right. Okay, good. So, right, what does a landscape photo need generally, right? Foreground, middle ground, background. And what we put in focus should tell the viewer where exactly to look and but also what's most important. And in this case, what's in focus if you can see that kind of tree line or branch right at the beginning, that's what's in focus. Everything else is kind of out of focus. So what the viewer here is being told is, I know there's a cool sunset. Don't look at that. Look at this, you know, silhouette at the very lower right third. That's what I want you to see. All the other stuff is just window dressing. And so where we apply focus, where we apply sharpness, that's where the viewer's eyes go. What we have though, right? We have this kind of cool smoky mountain range with this really neat reflected double sunset. But that double sunset, or, you know, the double reflection, it's pretty out of focus. And so, you know, I don't know if this was a film scan back in the day, not sure. But just as an illustrative point, right? You know, we kind of have this cool diagonal line, that mirrored diagonal that forms a triangle. It almost looks like a cello. If you tilt your head to a side, it kind of looks like a cello on the right-hand third. I think the trees and the pine trees don't really add much. I think that maybe left 20, 30% just past the sun flares don't really add much to this photo. I think coming down that diagonal that ends pointing at those out of focus sun, that's the crucial part, right? That's our isosceles triangle coming to a point, and that's probably where it should end. But probably the focus should be more on the midground or getting that sun in focus. But it just feels a little off to me that, like, oh, cool, that's out of focus. I should look for something. What I missed, oh, it's just a branch in the water. So it's a little bit of a letdown to the viewer to search. I think the technique could be used that if that branch was something very cool that we should, like, maybe we didn't see it first and then kind of had a delightful surprise at the end. So the setup to the joke just didn't really nail the punchline.
Swamp Thing.
Yeah, this is one of mine that I'm talking about tonight. You know, it's a good bird image. Natural light, I think, is the really kind of star element in this picture. The focus and depth of field are well chosen. You've got really lovely soft green woodland visible in the background, center left, certainly. The bird looks to be in good focus, is really nicely outlined against those sunlit tree trunks behind it. I do think, however, that the bird is overall that he's somewhat small in the frame, small in the composition, and I'd like to see him a little larger. I think that the foreground, particularly in the foreground center to the right a little bit, where you've got like some kind of bright element there that could easily be cropped out, crop out a little bit of the left side. And you would still have the really nice vertical and kind of triangular elements to the composition. And that's supported by the fact that the bird is looking across the image to the other side, which helps the viewer take in the rest of the image. It's possible, it's kind of hard to tell. We don't, you know, we judges don't always have an option to be able to enlarge images at all. And so it's possible that there's not a great deal of detail in him, in the bird himself, but sort of some minor cropping I don't think would be problematic with that. I also think that his face, head, could be lightened just a little bit. I don't think that would look unnatural, and it would help kind of bring attention more to the face and the eye, which are so important in any kind of bird, animal, person element. So it's very nicely done with the lighting, and you know, just taking down some of that real estate a little bit would really improve the overall image, I think. That's it.
Flaming Maples. Waller Creek Tunnel.
Can I talk about this one real quick? Real quick. I won't take long. This is another one of those examples that it was like that far away from being really, really, really great. And it's pretty good, but it just missed that little bit. So an image like this really depends upon because people are silhouette, right? We're looking at form, but in a photo like this, that form needs to be perfect, right? That symmetry needs to be dead on. But where they're standing in the tunnel is one step to the right of not being in the center. And so taking one step to the left, centering that image, gets this kind of like keyhole perspective, and it nails that symmetry a little bit more to really take it from like a pretty good image to a really good image. The other thing I'll notice, again, ISO was really high. Shutter speed was really high. Probably could have dealt with a little bit lower ISO. The shutter speed that you would have resulted would have been okay, quite okay. The other thing, maybe a different angle from getting real low and really showing off that mud and grime and dirt and water, but it also elongate those silhouettes in a way to make it even more of a graphical look, because that's really what we're going with here. It's also the proverbial light in the tunnel. I see what you did there. But taking one step to the left, dropping the camera 3 or 4 feet, and then really accentuating, getting those lines perfect, I think would really take this photo to another level.
The Oracle?
Yay. It was really hard to pick my 3 images to talk about this time, because I had so many of what I considered to be the really, really good ones. And other than like raving about how great they were, I didn't have a lot of kind of instructive sort of things to say. But that being said, I couldn't pass up talking about this one. This is a really, really fun image. It's so creative and really beautifully composed. There's so many different elements to explore in this image that it keeps you really intrigued just looking around and sort of trying to decide what the different things are. Really, really nice. F-stop here is F14, so you've got really great depth of field where you have your foreground marbles and the background, not sure what it is other than space. Really nicely in focus. It's an ISO 64 with a 4-second exposure. So you have, even though it's a very, very obviously dark image, you don't have any evident grain, really. I would suppose this is a home studio shop. I could make some guesses as to the creator, but I won't. Probably not actually shot in the microwave, although that's a microwave glass disc there. The color and the light are just really superb, particularly on the little astronaut there. I'm not really sure what, it's kind of fun to try to guess what the item is, the circular item in the middle that I perceive as the Oracle that's referred to in the title. Maybe it's a crystal ball, maybe it's some kind of a lens filter. I keep coming back to the softness in the center of that, but I've really decided that rather than that being any kind of flaw, it just really serves to draw your eye to it, which it being the Oracle just really kind of underscores the theme of that. My only criticism, and I'm only criticizing anything at all because I'm forcing myself to be picky about this picture, would be that the rectangular background isn't precisely squared off. And see, it's different on this than I saw on my home monitor. It was cropped at the top so that there wasn't any black between the top and the top of the image. And so I was recommending either some space there or cropping so that the two ends were more geometric. But in this, I can see that there is some space there. So anyway, great. This is a really great and fun image, and just kind of shows how creative you can be even when you're like stuck at home and have to make pictures out of the elements that you have there. Although this was done pre-COVID times. It's really fun. I like it a lot, obviously.
Autumn Falls?
Autumn Falls, that's me. Okay, I think this was I think there was quite a few film scans. I think this was a film scan. Um, I like that, and so if it was done on film, kudos, get that real slow shutter speed, get the fall, the water in motion. I kind of like the the cool tone to it. Kind of makes you feel like fall. I'm assuming this is probably somewhere up in the Northwest, with the trees and stuff. You got the fall foliage there. Um, and that the only thing with the yellow leaves though, and everything else kind of being, muted, kind of draws your eyes to the leaves, kind of on the left, bottom left side, and kind of in the center too. I don't know, you probably couldn't maybe move a little to the left more, to get the falls. But then again, you might have fell off a cliff and into the water. So on that, maybe again, film scan, but if you're digitizing it, you could probably go in and do a little editing. Maybe brighten up the falls just a little bit, draw your eyes to the falls, maybe a slight vignette so your eyes go to the falls, and then you could do some dodging and burning on this image as well. But overall, it was film, so hey, kudos.
All right, judge's choice. So there were 22, that would be what, six
Correct.
winners, I believe. Right.
Honorable mention, Uru Rebirth, and that was
Let me go back here again. That was
Patrick St. Cyr.
Yep.
Very nice. Second honorable mention, Nick Grossman for Berlin Olympic Stadium. Honorable mention goes to Michael Knox for the Seaholm Power Plant. And the Birdman, Dave DeVore. Hi, honey, I'm home. Nice capture, Dave. Beautiful birds. And we have a first place tie. So first place is The Oracle by William Ling. There's probably an interesting story behind this. And the other first place is Meek Rat with Pearl Snot Bubbles by Jim Smith. And expression is everything. And the People's Choice. The bronze medal in this Olympic Stadium goes to Nick Grossman. Silver goes to Dave DeVore for African Fish Eagles. And first place goes to Michael Knox for Waller Creek Tunnel. I'm just wondering how he got down there. Did you just sneak down a manhole? Or
He's the Batman.
That's a really cool shot.
okay, and now go to the advanced competition. I think what we'll do here, Ed, if you don't mind, is let's see, advanced class only, and then we want to go to, yeah, this guy's got skills. Go to the ones with, let's see, judges selections with critiques. Anyway,
Okay.
this was judged by the PSA judge. And her critiques.
Do you want me to go through them first or?
I think we'll do it all at once.
Yeah.
Okay.
Since we're,
Oh, wait.
That says 5 only.
go
Yeah.
to, that should have been it.
That was the
Judges
winners, probably.
Survey with critiques, right?
survey with critique. Yeah, no, that's with titles. Survey with critique at the bottom there. I'm sorry about that.
This one?
Judges- Yeah, that should do it. 20.
Okay.
Okay.
Okay, I'll leave it up for a certain amount of time, and if y'all want me to go back, why, let me know and I'll go back.
Okay.
Okay. Judge's choice.
So we have 5 place winners, 2 honorable mentions. The first honorable mention is Dave McGuire for full solar eclipse of 2017. I knew that was 2017. I mean, I remembered like exactly what they look like. Beautiful. That's really cool. I really like this, especially the last moon. Then honorable mention goes to Gary Hook for Peekaboo. Just amazing expression on this child. Third place goes to Steve Burkich for The Loneliness of Power. I think power is the right word here. You really, I mean, those muscles. It's not something I want to be close to. Second place, Sunken Wolf, Kat Smith. Now, Kat said she wanted to be intermediate division, so we're going to disqualify her. Okay, we won't.
Yeah, I guess so. I mean, well, this was taken back when I was taking photos, though.
Very nice. Very nice. And just to
Oh my God.
aggravate us even more, first place goes to Kat Smith. Did I make it?
That's crazy.
Yeah. Welcome
make
back,
it.
Kat.
Yeah, I guess we'll just leave me in advance now. Sorry. I just
Yeah.
moved to it, I think, before I left the club a couple of years ago. Or took a break, I should say.
Okay, now we have the People's Choice. 3 images. And Death Valley Stormrise.
That's gorgeous.
Yeah.
I don't know, Mark, it's not realistic enough.
That's not my forte. Josh Baker for Heritage Answer.
Bonus points if anybody knows where this was taken.
In front of a power line.
Anybody?
Lake Pflugerville?
Yeah.
I was gonna, yeah.
That's what I was going to say, but he's better at picking his mute off.
I mean, would you really want to crop out the sun? I wouldn't crop out the sun.
Yeah.
Wouldn't crop that at all.
Well, this is from 2012. So it was.
Oh, you've learned since then, huh?
No, I like it. I like the way it's balanced.
No, I do too. It's great.
It makes her feel like she's part of the Reeds.
Well, I think it's interesting because it's like she popped out of time, out of someplace else, because you can see the power lines in the background, the towers. You know she that doesn't really go so much with her. You know, she looks like she's something out of the past.
Yeah.
You know,
Anachronistic.
So she's something out of time. She's
It's all wibbly wobbly anyway. Timey wimey wibbly wobbly.
And first place goes to Dave McGuire
Yay.
for
Good job,
Coastal
Dave.
Range.
Yeah,
Where is that,
totally
Dave?
gorgeous colors in that.
Dave, are you still on?
Nice.
I am. That's taken out of a plane flying out of Medford, Oregon
Oh, yeah.
Wow.
with an iPhone.
Nice. It don't matter. It's a camera you had with you, right?
It's the camera I had handy. I had my other camera in my backpack under the seat, but
just keep rubbing it in, dude. Just keep rubbing it in.
His regular cameras is
oh
iPhone.
my God, gotta take that. You know.
Yeah. Yeah, that's good.
All
Hey,
right.
On the interclub stuff, y'all go take a look at that look. Some of you won some awards in there. Ed, you won something.
Oh,
Gene,
really?
Yeah,
Let
Gene,
me
you
read
won
these
something.
off here.
Yeah.
So in the projected image division, which is just a general digital group, we've got Josh got an honorable mention, Ed got an honorable mention, and Gene got a merit award. And I think, did we post the actual images with these, or do we need to do that still?
Very nice. Congrats, folks.
In the,
We have not, Mark.
okay, we
Yeah.
came in, we were in Group B, and we came in second place as a club in that group, which I forgot how many clubs there were in it.
Yeah, I saw, just browsing through, I saw Alan got a photojournalism award.
Yeah, I'll read them all off for you.
Okay.
Okay, in the nature group, Dennis Bosserman got a merit award. The merit is really good. Bill Ling got honorable mention, and the club was tied for 7th out of 32.
That's great, y'all.
In the photo travel group, we were 15th out of 26, so middle of the pack, but we didn't have any outstanding images in that one. In the projected, I'm sorry, the first one I announced that Josh, Ed, and Gene were, those were
Creative.
creative. That was a creative category. In the for digital images. In the general category for digital images, we struggled with no placements and 13th of 17 clubs. In the photojournalism division, Ed took an honorable mention. We tied for 4th out of 19, so that's
Great.
not bad.
That's great.
In the prints, the large color prints, we were 9th of 9, so that's an area for us to improve upon. Large monochrome, we were 6th of 7, so there's a lot less groups too participating in print divisions, as you can see from the numbers. Small color, we were 8 out of 11. Small mono, we were tied for 6 of 11, and creative, we were tied for 7th out of 8. So we didn't have any merit or honorable mentions in prints. So that's something that I just know we can do better at, because I've seen, it's just that people aren't printing their good images, I guess.
Well, so much of that competition is learning kind of what images go best in what category.
Yeah.
Is it travel? Is it photojournalism? Is it general? Is it creative? Like, so learning how to optimize for that's part of the game.
I thought they were going to be tougher in terms of nature and photojournalism, especially nature. From the way they described it, it seemed like they were going to, you guys show this animal in nature and this and that and the other. And they weren't quite as strict as they said they were going to be. But so I still think a good quality image wins out.
If we can learn how to shoot 3D, there's some openings in that part.
We
need to get some like bonus points there. Somebody buy that Canon VR lens and we can.
I've got a ton of 3D photos.
Oh, really?
Well, you just need to get 4 IDs, man.
Man, we gotta get you in there. Yeah, that's some bonus points right there. But I mean, on some of those, I mean, we did, that's for our first time out. That's a pretty good showing, I think. I mean, y'all, these are like, it's like the Sydney, Australia photo club, the like Hanoi photo club, like go and look. I mean, it's all over the world where we're competing against. And the fact that, we did okay, like that's pretty cool.
Yeah. So.
Mark, do you have the results of the People's Choice from last year's photos?
I do. Ed, I think you have access to that on.
Yeah, let's see. Where is?
It's going to be under recent competitions.
Okay.
Select a competition, go to recent competition.
Is it under competition results?
Yes. No. Oh, I don't know. It might be there too. It's under. It's on.
I think it was just sent out on the email that we just got.
Yeah. Let's see.
Yeah, I've been meaning to post those, and you sent me the message the other day. I forgot to do it, so I'll try to do that tomorrow.
It's on Image Competition Manager.
Image Competition Manager.
Okay. Yeah. Look there.
Okay.
And then
called End of Year.
Yeah, that's it.
And those were, there's Bill Ledbetter's choices, his top 10, and then there's the People's Choice.
Right.
It's all, they're grouped together.
Yeah, we've all, we just share your screen again.
Yeah, so now, okay. Are you seeing the competition manager?
Yeah.
Yes, we are.
And what should I look at?
You want to go through People's Choice.
People's Choice, okay.
And third, the bronze goes to Bill Ling for Flower and Water, an image we saw at the year-end party, and very creative and worked really well. The silver medal goes to Cheryl Callan for Morning Light, in the Old West like it used to look. And the people agreed with the judge that, oh no, actually that's not true. I take that back. Anyway, the people like Papa in Papa's Hands by Gary Hook. And that, very stunning. So I think we're now all caught up on last year and this year's competitions. So next month is open, I believe.
Yay, open. I hate
Right.
looking through my old photos.
So everybody likes the open shots. And that's all I have.
Yay, awesome. Guys, thanks for sticking with us. I know we had a couple of problems, but
I'm really sorry. I'm going to figure out, I've run through several scenarios here, and all I can figure is I'm having some Zoom issues that it's things that didn't used to happen are happening, and I got to figure out why. So Ed, I'll have to get together with you.
Yeah, I'll be glad to set up a sample Zoom session if you want to try out some stuff.
Yeah, thanks.
awesome, y'all. We'll see y'all in 2 weeks.
Yep.
Great job, everybody.
Great.
Great job on the international competition. We'll see y'all soon.
Stay safe.
Okay,
Your
goodbye.
For crew.
Bye now.